So that's why we are reminding people, if you are going to respect the Buddha, especially even on Vesak Poya Day, that's the time to celebrate the Buddha's life. If you are going to respect the Buddha really, just see the Dhamma. Just follow the Buddha's teaching. That's the way in respecting the Buddha. I remember Miss Amaya, once the Buddha explained, monks, nuns and lay people, everybody, Yo dhammam passati, somam passati. Someone practices the Dhamma, what the Buddha taught, of course, who is going to see the Buddha really? You know, the Buddha passed away 2558 years ago.
Long time.
Yeah, long time ago. The Buddha is not alive today. Of course, the Buddha is not alive today. But with Dhamma, Buddha alive. With the Dhamma, Buddha alive. You know, there were some people during the Buddha's time. The Buddha was alive at that time. But without practicing the teachings of the Buddha, they never saw the Buddha. For example, there was a king, famous king in Buddha's history, named Kosala. Every day, 3 times a day, he used to visit the Buddha. You know, sometimes touching the Buddha's legs, just he showing his careness, his care, his love, his compassion towards the Buddha. The Buddha preached lots of sutras and then discourses because of King Kosala, but he couldn't, apply into his life. Even he couldn't gain the first stage of Dhamma, we call as Sotapanni, stream winner, so on. He couldn't attain into that level even. Finally, what happened, you know, Miss Amaya? He went to hell. One of hells he went there. Because of he had kind of lots of attachment, kind of feelings towards these worldly things. So that's why we are asking people, it doesn't matter whether Buddha is alive or not. The important thing is just how to practice the Buddha's teaching. Even today.
We've given a lot of food for thought, I think, for our viewers right now. But there is a lot more to discuss as well. Why did this Prince Siddhartha leave the palace, and what did he go in search of? All of these questions we will address to Bhante, but right now we're going for a short commercial break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the show, everyone. You're with us on this blessed Vesak Poya Day, and of course in the studio we have with us Venerable Dr. Mirissa Dhammikathero, and he has been explaining to us, of course, the deeper meaning of what Buddhism is and how fleeting our lives can be and how short, and how we should always try to make it more meaningful and spend our energy meaningfully. But I have to ask you now, the Vesak festival is the birth, the enlightenment and the passing away of Lord Buddha. But what did this Prince Siddhartha, who lived in a very comfortable palace, he was told that he would be one of the most powerful kings on earth if he remained in the palace, but he left everything. He left his wife, he left his child, all the riches in the world, and he went in search of a truth. And he asked so many different teachers along the way to teach him, but he couldn't find it out, and finally he discovered it himself, which we call enlightenment. So what is the truth that he really went after, Bhante, if I can ask
Prince
you?
Siddhartha, coming from his sansaric journey, his goal, since enlightened monk, the Buddha, former Buddha we call as Dipankara Buddha, he got kind of promises. In my future I am going to become the Buddha. From the Buddha of Dipankara, he was practicing 10 perfections, we call as Dana, Sila, Nekkhamma, so on. There are 10 perfections to qualify to become a Buddha, who has to fulfill those perfections. And then since the Buddha of Dipankara, he was carrying out this kind of behavior, and then he came into this world to find what is right and what is not right. In Pali, King Satya Gavesi, what is right? King Kusala Gavesi, what is wholesome activities and deeds, what I am supposed to do some research on that. And Prince Siddhartha, of course, as you explained, he had comfortable life. Of course, his father, King Suddhodana, arranged everything. But actually, he was finding if it is comfortable for myself and for other people, other beings, those who are living on this earth. He was just finding that kind of teachings. This is what we are calling in Pali King Kusala Gavesi and King Satya Gavesi. It's a kind of behavior of bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas means those who are fulfilling towards the enlightenment. And then one day when he was walking to a park, he saw a person. He's not familiar with his eyes, right? And then eyes means just it symbolizes, that means with his mind. He is not familiar. And then he asked his friend, who's that person? And then friend said, he's old man, old person. What does it mean? Old person means he's losing his energy, who is having kind of pains and sorrow in his body. We call as old person. How about myself? Am I going to get old or become a person like that? Of course, yes. How about my father? Not only your father, even your wife, beautiful princess. She's going to get old. One day, you and your wife, everybody's going to become this person, old person. And then he fell into a deep thinking. Oh, what's happening on this earth, in this world? I am thinking I can continue my life as a luxurious, lifestyle, what I'm expecting for things. But I change. It is changing my mind because of this person. He fell into a deep thinking. For the second day, again when he was going to a park, he saw other person, and then he asked and questioned his friend, who's that person? He's a sick person. He's a sick man. What does it mean? Do you think everybody is going to get sick? Of course. Everybody gets sick and old. So what's the meaning of this life? If they get sick and old, if we are going to lose our energy and bodily functions and things, what's the meaning of life? Just I thought I can enjoy in this life forever. So it's not right. Now I realize it's changing every day with our bodies and lives. And then again he fell into a deep thinking. For the third time when he goes to a park, he saw something different from those objects and sceneries. And then Prince Siddhartha asked his friend, what's that? What's happening? Oh, it's a dead body. People are carrying a casket. What does it mean? Casket? When someone died, people used to put into a casket and then they are going to a cemetery. This is what's happening. Oh, if we are going to die? Of course, we are going to die. How about we are going to live for 100 years, 200, 300? I don't think so. I don't know how to answer for that question. Even tonight we may die. Even this moment we may leave this world. Again Prince Siddhartha fell into deep thinking. What's happening with my thoughts? What's happening to my dreams? It became shaky because I was strong with my dreams. Now it's changing. And then for the fourth time he was just walking to park. Again he was seeing a person, and then he asked his friend again, who is that person? He is so peaceful. He's very nice and calm. Who is that person? Oh, he's a monk. What does it mean? Monk, having kind of feelings of this layman life. Lay people are having lots of pains and sorrows because of their layman attitude and their behavior, their layman activities and things. And then they got upset about that. And then they wanted to find the truth, what's happening. So they renunciated. this life. So he's a person we call as a monk, bhikkhu or samana. And then Prince Siddhartha was thinking about himself. It's not what I really want to do, what I really want to follow. That's the way. That's my path. I feel something coming from my previous birth, or it's inviting me to become like that, become a person like that. So this is what I really need. Of course. And then he changed his mood because of this peaceful monk. He went back home, and then he was thinking to how to leave the palace, to escape from these problems. So this is what he got ideas to become ascetic monk at the very beginning of his path. After that, actually, he reached a few teachers on his path, but he couldn't fulfill his goal. He learned kind of teachings from those teachers, but that's not he wanted to fulfill in his mind. Finally, actually, he meditated, and then he fulfilled his hopes. We call as he became the Buddha. He got enlightenment.
So then it's through that entire process, that's when he attained the truth, and that's when he started sharing what he found out, what he discovered with all his followers as well. And that is what we try to celebrate at the Vesak festival especially. But speaking about the deeper meaning of Vesak in our lives today, we'll discuss this a bit more with Bhante, but right now we're going for a very short commercial break. We'll be right back on Good Morning Sri Lanka.